This is the final ultimate test of tree identification, and that is actually how the process all comes together. And what we're going to do is explain to you that there is a key process out there as to how to identify a tree. It's called a dichotomous key, and simply what it comes down to is two choices are provided to you. They are simply two choices, and you take the best of those two, and at the end of that question it will tell you where to go next in this dichotomous key. Some of the trees that we're able to identify, we can start on page 1 and all of a sudden end up on page 20 without looking at anything in between, simply because the characteristics tell us in which way to go. And there are a variety of dichotomous keys. There's some that are very simple and simplistic, other ones that are very, very cumbersome. But I will show you at the end some of them that are fairly simplistic, inexpensive to purchase, and a lot of fun to use. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this particular species of tree right here and walk it through the way it would be in a dichotomous key. The first question that would be asked on a dichotomous key is this an evergreen or a hardwood? Remember, the hardwoods are those that are going to lose their leaves in the wintertime. So your first choice is it a conifer or is it a hardwood? And I think most of you will recognize very quickly this leaf is probably going to fall off in the winter, change color, fall off, so it's going to be a hardwood. So in our two-choice question, hardwood, conifer, we would pick hardwood and it would tell us where to go next. Where it's going to go next is it's probably going to tell us to go to simple. Because remember, when we talk about leaf characteristics, we find out that this particular leaf right here, if we find the bud here, and if we go out the stalk of the leaf, you'll find out that you only have one leaf blade. So this is a very simple leaf. And so we have identified this as being simple. The other choice would be compound. So is it a simple or is it a compound leaf? Our choice is simplistic, simple. At the end of that discussion of the simple, it would tell us to probably go to the next one, and our choice there would be, is it alternating or is it opposite? And that would be, are the leaves alternating or opposite? And right here we have the stem and the leaf. Right here we have the stem and the leaf. Right here we have the stem and the leaf. And I think very quickly you can see that this leaf, the pattern of arrangement on this is an alternating pattern. And so it's going to send us to another set of questions. And the questions that are probably going to come up for this particular tree species is, it's going to ask you whether or not it is lobed or unlobed. Remember, lobed is very similar to my hand. Are there indentations in the leaf? This is an unlobed leaf. And it's probably going to send us to one more set of questions in this dichotomous key, and that is going to be, is it probably serrated on the edge or is it heart-shaped? And that could be another question it's going to ask. And you can see very, very quickly that this is a heart-shaped leaf versus having serration around the edge. So what it's going to do at this particular point in the dichotomous key is it's going to actually give us the answer or the species recognition. And this is a very common tree here in the state of Kentucky. It blooms early in the spring. It's orangey purple. It is the redbud. And from there you can take your identification and interest levels to any level that you would like to. So that is a very simplistic dichotomous key for you to run through. The whole key to a tree identification is the dichotomous key. And there is a wide variety of dichotomous keys that you can find for purchase or possibly even online dichotomous keys. And this particular one that I have right here is simply 1 page in length. It's 10 common trees here in the state of Kentucky, and it can be utilized for field trips especially. Would be a real good way in which to utilize something like this. Again, there are other commercially prepared dichotomous keys. This is a relatively inexpensive dichotomous key. It starts at the front and simply asks you all the different characteristics, and it walks you through page by page as to where to go in this book and eventually finding the answer to the tree that you have. A very sophisticated tree identification dichotomous key is one similar to this. In here, it has it broken down into very explicit parts that you actually start with, whether it's leaves, barks, or fruits, and you can kind of go from there. The simpler ones to begin with would be much better. The vocabulary in all of these are very similar. This one's a little more sophisticated, using a few more technical terms. One more key that is actually available to you, there's a small cost for this one. It's through the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service in the Forestry Department, is this particular book right here, and that is, it discusses the forest trees of Kentucky, and it has 90 of the most commercially important trees that we find here in the state of Kentucky.